So while learning, we have seen the combination with form group and with form control. So we have created like this, like suppose we have some name is there. So name or suppose email form and with new instance of this form group, and then we have the different form control we have created. So suppose over here we have created the email and then new form control, and here like for the initial stage we are passing the blank value, and then over here we pass the validators. So like validators dot required we have passed, and if you have to pass others, so you can go and you can separate with the comma and you can use, and if you want to go to the check all the validators, so we have the angular dot io API / forms and validators. So there are some inbuilt validators Angular providers. Angular API forms validators. Okay. Let me check till forms. So we have the forms. Let's go and check validators. Yeah. And you can see we have lots of like we have seen also this like the mean, max, required, email, mean length, max length. We have the patterns and all these validators we have. So we'll see this also and we'll see how we can go and we can create our own customized validate. So this way you used to do using the creating the instance of the form control, and this is the email and the number of field you want to create. You have to just create and you have to create the form control, and by default we are passing the blank value because we want to show our form control means into bug accept blank at the initial. Now this also can be achieved with the help of our form builder. So for creating this form group, we don't require to get the inject, but our form builder, we have to go and we have to inject as a services. So this form builder also you can go and you can find inside the our form group library. This will be also inside the here at the rate angular / forms. And this will going to be a work as your, so this is a service form builder. So you need to inject in other constructor like the we have injected the our services. So this is also a service. It actually gives it reduce the number of line of code you are writing through the form group. If you go and use this form builder, the number of line of code will be means reduce when you go and create the complex forms. So as we know in Angular, we provide us two approaches to create the form. So one is like template event forms. So when the form is simple, you can go and you can create using this approach. And everything will be for the template event, everything like the validation, all will be the in the your template file means .html file. But when you want like to do the crowd operations or modify the data, so at that time you want to have more control on your form. So that time you require to go and use the reactive forms. And this all will be done to the TypeScript file, and this one will be done inside the HTML. And we have seen like we have used the for template event forms, we have used the HTML5 validation required all. And in the case of reactive forms, we'll go and use the validators from the at the rate. This library also you'll go and find under the library at the rate Angular / forms. Under that you will find this validator, and we are going to use this. Now, how I can go and use the this form builder? So for that, you first of all you need to go and import from this library, and then inside the constructor you need with the help of the access modifier like we have in the TypeScript, like the public, private, and the protected. So I will go and write private, and like suppose we have the form builder, right? So we are making in the camel case. So form builder and form builder over here. So this whatever the services you are injecting, you will inject inside the constructor. Now if I have to go and use, so I can use this one. So I will declare a property which will be inheriting our form group. So suppose over here I have created the form which will be I will go and define on the .html. When we will create the .html, at that time you have to go and define this form group, and over here we require to pass the form group. And suppose I told you at the initial if there is like the declaration and initialization error message you are getting, so just you have to make it optional with exclamation. And now on ng on init, I can go and I can create suppose email. Same form if I have to go and I have to create. So email this dot. Now we have to go and you have to call this form builder. So this dot over here and dot group. And inside this, if I have to go and write, so I can write name and this way over here, like you don't record, you can directly go and over here if you can see we are creating the instance of again the form control. Over here you don't require to create the instance. Directly you can go and square and then comma, and then you can go and you can use the validator over here. Like suppose if I have to go and I have to use, so I will write over here, and this will be the closing, and in this validators, and over here validators dot required. So this way you can go and you can create the forms over here. So now let's create the contact us form using this reactive approach and use this form group. So for that,
Amit, we can do this initialization in constructor only. No? Why we are doing in NG on it?
no, initialization where we have,
In constructor only we can do this, right? Initialization.
this one I am just showing for an example. You can
Uh,
create the method and under that method also you can do.
in
Just
constructor.
I'm calling, yeah, just like you have the page load in the ASP.NET web form.
Mhm,
So same way this ng on init, whenever this component instance will be called,
mhm.
this call will, this is the like first ng on change will be called, then constructor will call, and after that this ng on init will be get file. When you see the component life cycle,
Okay.
we'll see that also. Just for example, I have given. This you can create the method and you can do over here, and you can directly call the method over here to get initialized. Like the way we have done in our with the form group. Same way, just I'm showing you example on the ng on init. We'll see this one when we create the multiple forms. So to creating this form, I'm going to use the Angular materials. So first of all, let's do the our project, and we have the project over here, and inside this we have the component. So first of all, we require to import some of the module to work with this creating the form in our this like the same way we have created the mat toolbar button card. For input field, also we have to go and we have to import. For input and the mat field, we have to go and import the modules and then we have to include in the imports array. So let's first import. So over here, input from the rate angular forward slash material forward slash form field. Okay. And from here, we'll use the mat form field module. Okay. Form field module. This one. And then one more for the input. So over here, input and from the rate angular forward slash material process input. And I will go and will inherit over here mat input module. And now we need to export. So we'll export because we have created this separate module. So whatever you are going to include in this module, you need to export. Then only our root module will be going to recognize, okay, this module has been updated. Now I will go and use the mat form module and then mat input module. So the first step we have included the module over here. Now we have to go and we have to create the forms. So for that, I will go to the our contact us HTML. I will delete this and I can go and I can create the form over here. So as we know, to create the forms, we use the form tag and then over here, like to submit, we have to use the event. So suppose over here, I have used this submit and then the method which will going to call. So suppose save details, and this method we need to go and put in the .ts file. Otherwise you will go and save, so it will throw the exception. So on the class I have created, and now we have seen like for the reactive forms we use the square bracket. Inside that we have the form group, and then we have the form over here. And now inside this form tag you can go and you can create. So suppose over here I have created mat field, field mat form field over here, and inside this we'll go and we'll create mat mat table, mat label, sorry. Asterisk, and over here we'll use the form control like we used previously, and this will be the name which we'll go and specify over here in the constructor. Means while creating, like we have created, so this is the name. So suppose only we have currently the name, same way we have the different fields, we'll go and we'll give in the form control name. So I have given over a name and mat input. So input form control, okay, form control name and the mat input. Now let's create the object over here. So we don't have the constructor, so you can go and you can create the constructor, and then we require to go and import from at the rate angular / forms form group form builder, and then we have the validators. And in the constructor, and then we'll go and create the form builder. And now you can see over here, either you can go and you can create that inside the method, or for time being we'll go and we'll create on the ng on init. So over here on this class you will see there is not ng on init, so you have to implement. So implement on init. ng on init over here. And we'll go and create a over here property which is our form in.ts. Over here we have defined, and form will going to inherit the form group. And you can see in the newer version it will always going to give you this. I have showed you in the previous, you'll get that it is only not initialization. So you can go and you can put over here the exclamation. So this will be the option, either it can have the value or it. And now on ng only I will go and create. So over here we'll go, and so we have given this name, and if you can see on the form group and the this name, whatever the name, like you see the previous video also, the name which we have given the form will go and we'll use over here. So we'll use this dot form, and now we'll go and use this dot form builder dot group. And suppose now I have gone and defined some default value. Now save both the files and see the UI. So we are getting some error. Let's see. So we have form over here, and we have about us. And in the HTML, we have this form group and the name of the form. So why we are getting this error? Let me do some notification message. Form group. So why have form submit details form group is equal to form. Cannot bind to form group since it is a non-property of form. One minute, let's check this. So we have the form group. We are creating the. Let me go and change the name. Contact. Cannot bind to form group since it is a. So we are doing the same, right? Form control, form group, and then okay, sorry. So we are working with the reactive forms, right? So we need to include the module over here. Okay, got the issue. We need to include the reactive forms module. So import from at the rate angular /forms, and inside this we have to import the reactive forms module. And then we need to go and import over here reactive forms module. Save, and now it's compiled successfully. So we forgot to import the reactive forms. That's why it was throwing the exception. Now if I will go and see, so you can see by default it will go and it will create these forms. If you want to go and create the other way, so there will be the multiple examples on the Angular material. You can go and you can use the other examples if you scroll down. So we have the form fields and just go direct to the API. So you can see this one we have created. You have this option as well. And if you want to create the other one, so we have the different option over here we have. You can go and you can create. So now we have created the forms over here in the our control. So this way it displaying. Now if you want to display in the this format, so just you have to add the tag. Like if you can see, we have this one. So for that, just you have to go and add in the HTML. We have to add over here just appearance is equal to outline, and just save. And now if you go to the UI, so you have this text box. Once you click, you can see once you out, it will go and it will display. Now let's go and create the button for this. You can same way you can go and you can increase the number of control like name, email ID. Suppose if you are going to create like the name and the description or some text, so you can go and you can create over here. And now we'll go and add the button. Wants to save the record whatever the user will enter, and one is to cancel the record. So mat button, and over here we have the sorry, mat flat button, and then color you want to use, which suppose for primary we are going to use, and I have given save. Next I will go and create, so I will copy this, and instead of this one I will go and use other button stroke, and over here we don't want to give cancel, save, go to the UI. So you can see we have two buttons we have created, but it is still in the same row. So we can go and we can make Either you can go and use the again this tag to go and create like we have created inside this. I can go and I can create mat form field and I will go and put all this inside. It will be let to VR and then we'll see. So it will now we want to give some margin over here. So directly you can go to the CS and on button only. So button and margin right was 1 RM I have given. So now we got the space. So we have created one field. If you want to create, you can create the multiples. Now once I click on this save, it should go and it should validate these forms. So we can go now and by default, if I'll go and try in this contact us, so we have seen also in the while learning. So by default, if you go and try it, so always this value will going to be on the text box. If you refresh 100 times also that value will be always over here. But we don't want to be the add the value by default. Only the user will go and he will enter some value. Then only this value should be over here. So we want to make it as a blank. And now we want to add the validations. So we'll put this in the square bracket. And over here, I will go and I will use the validators over here. So, comma, and in the validators, and validators dot required. Save and go to the UI. So now if I'll go over here and okay, let me check the classes, which are the classes of has been applied to text box. So you can see ng valid, ng pristine, and then ng touched. All these classes has been applied over here, and we want to give the validators and the valid is required. So why this is not working? Save. So it should by default. Suppose if I will go and refresh this page. So by default we have that ng touch. Let me go and apply some class. Is danger and border color rate. Save. And now we'll go and we'll apply on this input. And we'll apply the ng class. As we know the difference between the ng style and the ng class. So ng class you have the multiple properties can be written inside the class and same class you can go and you can use But when you come to the NG style, only one property we can go and can write. And if you have to write multiple, so you have to go and you have to separate with the comma. Like suppose background, then background I have given some color. Again, if I have to give the color, so I will separate with comma and I have to go and give over here the red and something. But in the case of class, I have created one class and inside this I can go and give background color red and color white in the same class. So this is the only simple difference between the ng class and the ng style. So both will be the under the square bracket and both will going to have the same syntax, curly bracket, and over here I will go and I will apply is danger, and then you have to go and you have to write the condition over here. So the condition will be over here like control form, sorry, contact form dot, and if you see we have the forms over here. So we have ng touch. If I'll go and touch over here, so that is getting to ng touch, and there will be the ng dot p. So let me go and use first and contact form dot dot p. So whether that class is applying or not, we have saved. Okay, we have saved is danger, and then the border color red, and then in this one we have applied ng class, and the contact form is touched and contact form is dirty over here. Or let be one only for time being. Yeah, is danger color is applying, but that is not getting reflected. So we have the ng valid, ng touched, and we have the okay, maybe due to this the label which you are giving inside is form, because you can see always without entering this the form is getting valid. It should not get valid over here. Let me go and comment and check. This is the label. So now if I'll go and see, so still it's getting the valid only. The class is valid. It should always at the page load, it should be always invalid. Because because if it is valid, then we cannot apply, you cannot disable this also. Because at the initial stage, it should be the always, this is going to be the invalid, then only because see the class is danger is applied on this input. But due to this over here, it is not getting. Yes, I need to check why this is happening. Yeah, it is always now see now also it is invalid and touch. And then we have the now you can see it has applied the dirty as well. So this is causing the error. Okay, I will check why this is by initial why using enroll material is there some setting because when you use the bootstrap, this was always invalid at the initial stage. Okay, I will check this why we are getting this one at the initial stage. Because it should be always invalid. Like you can see ng and touch we are getting. In the same way, it should be also get invalid. So now we have created the one form group over here. In the same way, you can go and you can create the other, like suppose we have this one, then you can go and you can create the email, and same way you can go and you can put this. And if you want to go and create over here inside this, so same, you need to go and you need to control. The email. So we have created this forms over here in the same way, and you can go and you can uncomment this, because due to this it's not happening. There is some setting required in the Angular material, because always at the initial stage is getting valid only. So for this, and you can go and you can take the BR, and over here you can have the email, and this way you can go and you can create the forms. So if you want to make this whole alignment inside over here in the center, so you should require to go and give the apply the CSS over here. So either you can use the Flexbox CSS, which generally go and justify your. So this is the container over here. So you can directly go and move this all the text inside over here. Okay. So we have left with the why the CSS is not applying, because the classes which we are applying in the over here is not, it's directly getting the ng in valid over here. So due to that, because the each danger class is applying on this, but due to this class control, we don't able to see anything on this one. So I will look and I will tell you tomorrow what was the issue for this, because this one I am also using the first time Angular material. So this is causing these errors. Okay. And now if you want to go and do the changes of all your forms, so from here you can go and you can, so on the submit, we have written the nothing. If I'll go and do the submit over here, like console.log and this dot. So in the reactive forms, we don't have to require to pass from here. You'll get all the data in this contact form. Save and go to the console, clear all this, and suppose I have written name, email 892 form, and save. You can see we got the form group, and inside the form group you have the value over here, email and the name. And suppose if you see the other controls over here, like suppose we don't have the Angular material, yes, So, so if you go in the footer, they will give you the option of contact us. No, over here they don't have the option of okay. Your website where you will get the option of contact us because in this we don't have. We just NASA. Okay, so they don't have the forms. If you open the Infosys, go down. Let's see over here only. They don't have any. Let me Google it. That was- So if you can see, we can go and we can design. So generally there will be the some message for what purpose you are going and we are connecting for that website. So you can see we have the name, email, and the contact us, and this is a text area. So as much as you can go and you can expand this. So if you go in the text area of the Angular material, we have the input. Yeah, you can see I can go and I can expand. So this will be expanded based on the use size, whatever the size you want to give. And this text only works for the limited text over here. So I will go and I will create a form like this same way using the Angular material over. I will go and I will create over here. And we have seen like we have getting the data in the console. So once we'll go and do the API integration, we'll see how this data we can go and we can send to the our database. So this will only going to work as a your post because we are saving the data into the database. If suppose in number of random customers visiting our website and for the querying of related to our suppose for the our product, they are giving the details. So in this, we'll go and we'll have only the post request, which will go and will save all the data. And I will check why this is not getting the invalid class over here because we want to disable this class. Once the user will go and fill something, then only I want to make this enable to this save button. Otherwise, it should be disabled. Once the user will finish all these fillings over here, suppose we have the other like the message. Let me create. Okay. So this they are applying the flags direction over here. So it will display in a column. So we'll see that as well. So for time being, let's go and create a BR. And instead of the appearance, if full, they are applying the, we're looking into the outline. So now you can see we are going to be like this. And you can see it will go and it will expand based on the your text on this one. And on the click of save, it will go and it will save in the database. And it will going to have the HTTP var post. Okay. So tomorrow we'll see why this class is not applying. So we have left with the validations that each danger is not applying. And then I will go and I will design this UI and I will put in the center whatever you're seeing over here. I will go and I will put this into the center using some CSS and I will share the code of that one. And then we'll go and see the HTTP post. So tomorrow I will go and I will integrate the API one by one. We'll see, then only you will understand API, and I will use the SQL Server database. And for API integration, I'm going to use VS Studio 2022, and under that, I will go and use .NET Core 6.0. I am going to use. Okay. So in tomorrow class, before starting with other, we'll go and we'll create these forms, and we'll see how we can go and we can save in our database. So one bar also we have till now we have still only the HTTP verbs. Now once we'll go and submit these forms into the database, so we'll see how the HTTP verbs will, and when you'll go and use the CRUD operations, at that time we'll see all the HTTP verbs which are most commonly used. Okay, so this was for the today. We'll continue from here from tomorrow. Do you have any doubt in this?